Welcome to Talking Confidence with Holly Kaplan. Having confidence in the workplace is essential for progress, fulfillment, and yes, survival. The issue is that confidence doesn't always come easy and is impacted and influenced along the way. But the key to finding and keeping your confidence is how to recognize how professional situations have affected how you think of yourself. In this podcast together, we will examine exactly what impacts women's confidence in the workplace. We're going to get raw in these episodes. We're going to peel back the layers of social interactions, company culture, gender discrimination, ageism, and more. My guests will include entrepreneurs, corporate executives, and business owners. We're going to get down to what these women are really feeling. Expect to find vulnerability, openness, and relatability. But most importantly, expect to find your confidence. Facing the unknown in life can make people feel less confident or unsure. Like maybe you're in a long-term relationship that isn't working for you anymore, or you're considering leaving a job that you're not happy in, but you don't know what to do because you don't know what life will look like on the other side. And that can be scary. But wouldn't it be nice to have guidance in making those decisions? And I don't just mean asking a friend for an opinion. I mean asking someone who can really tap into what your next step should be, because that someone has another way of getting answers for you. I'm speaking of someone with clairvoyant abilities. I'll tell you, I've consulted clairvoyants over my years, and they were more right than not. I've consulted with them for personal and professional reasons both. What they did for me was make me feel confident in making decisions and moves that I felt unsure about. And look, I know some of you out there are like, yeah, lady, whatever, that's ridiculous. That stuff isn't real. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. You can blame my confidence in clairvoyance on my New Orleans upbringing because it's normal there. But those who can tap into the other side through tarot readings, meditation, or astrology charting can help you validate what you need to be doing next in life. And this will bring you confidence. This is why today I've invited a friend of mine, Grady Smart, tarot, intuitive, and astrology expert, to have this conversation about how he brings confidence to his clients through his readings and gifts. Please be sure to listen through to the end of this episode for my 2 tips on seeking clairvoyant confidence. But first, here's more on Grady. Grady Smart is a tarot, intuitive, and astrologer based in the DFW area. He's been consulting tarot for clients for over 40 years, and he has an extensive knowledge of the mythology, symbolism, and esoteric power that lies behind the images. He was drawn to the beautiful arts of tarot and the zodiac early in his teens when he visited the Constellation bookstore here in Dallas and fell in love with the work of artists and authors that he found there. Through the years, he amassed quite a variety of decks and gained valuable insight from many tarot masters. He has read cards and crafted astrological charts for hundreds of clients, and he always looks forward to interacting with new people around the world who share the same passion. We're finally here together to do this.
Love it.
I know. I love it too. I asked you to do this podcast with me last October.
Has been a while.
Actually, I needed your permission to know if I should do this podcast again, and you said yes.
Absolutely. Thought it was destiny for you. Yeah. I'm excited to be here.
I called you to find out. I was like, should I do this podcast again? And you said yes.
100%.
Yeah. So I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Okay. As I start every podcast, Grady, how do we know each other?
So we met through a client of mine and a friend,
yes.
Susie Hastet, and we connected that way. And I do remember us meeting at Starbucks for a reading.
Yes.
And I just remember loving your energy and knowing no matter what your concerns were, you were headed on the right path.
Oh,
I just saw it. So I really enjoyed reading for you, and I've loved reading for you over the ensuing years.
Well, I appreciate it. We have a long-term relationship.
It is. I was thinking about how long it is. Time flies.
I know. It's been 6 years, but I came to see you because I felt really uncertain about where my professional life was going.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of in between worlds, and I was like, I don't know if I should leave or if I should do this or what's going to happen. And all you kept saying was, stay the course, do X, Y, Z, And then it did.
Stay on your path.
Stay on your
I
path.
definitely saw that for you.
Yeah, you were right. And you could even predict people that were coming into my life at the time.
Absolutely. And if I had seen that you were going to need to go on and veer off, of course I would have told you, but I never saw that for you.
No,
I was
you
like,
did not.
you got to get over that self-doubt and trust your own talent.
Well, I appreciate your guidance in that because it got me there.
I'm glad.
And it got us here today.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Which is awesome. Okay, enough about me. Let's talk about you.
Sure.
Tell me about you, your background, your hometown, all about Grady.
Oh, wow. Well, my name's Grady Smart. My hometown, which I love, I'm glad you brought it up, Lompoc, California. I miss it. But I've lived most of my life in Texas and got into this a long time ago, 1978. So almost 50 years of doing this.
Oh, my God.
Off and on. Of course, at first, I really wasn't doing it professionally in any way. I was just learning about it, experiencing it, trying on myself, mostly using the tarot cards. And the way I got into it was interesting. My poor mother, I just remember her seeing my bedroom decorated with every astrological symbol and tarot card known to man.
She's like, what is going on
She's like, what is
here?
this about? She was never, judgmental about it, but she was not anything she was into. So I got into it through art. One of my very favorite artists, Joffrey Verkerke, did a series of astrological posters, which I loved. And on those posters were little images of tarot cards. And so it really drew me to the symbols. And I've always had a kick with mythology, especially Greek and Celtic. And so the tarot is loaded with that symbolism. And so I was drawn to it. And then I started playing with them, found out that they had some validity for my life, and then started sharing with friends and really got into it hardcore, probably about 1990 when I started doing cards as well as astrological birth charts. So, yeah. And I'm also criminal defense attorney on the side.
in all your spare time.
All my spare time. Don't really practice much anymore. I really enjoy doing this, getting into public speaking a little bit. So, but
you have a lot to say. You have a lot to tell.
I know. I hope I don't talk too much here.
No, I want you. I want you
talk.
to say as much as you can. I want you to say everything. So, you told me about the cards and the symbols. How did you realize that you had these clairvoyant abilities?
Of course, I had to apply it to my life first. Right. That's the only way I could know. It started when I would look at the cards. And, it's interesting. The cards are like a channel for the psychic energy I think most of us already have. And it just helps channel us. So when you start listening to that voice, you realize it has a lot of validity. I think one of the first times was probably when I was about 16 or 17. And I had laid out a very short reading of 3 cards. And they had specified a specific person I was going to meet, matching their zodiac sign. So, for instance, the King of Cups is associated with Cancer, and the sign Cancer, and it showed profitability with the 6 of coins. And sure enough, within the 24 hours, I met a guy who had gotten me a pretty good job for a teenager, really well paying. And yes, I asked his sign. I know we don't do that anymore, but I did, and he was a Cancer.
That is so 70s.
It was.
Hey, what's your
sign?
What's your sign?
But I think people should do it all the time. But, that's kind of a simple example. But at the beginning, that's what it was. It was very simple, very direct. So that's when I kind of figured out, this is starting to make some sense. And especially when I started reading for others and they really resonated with it. Like they knew exactly what I was talking about. And they connected with it. So.
Yeah, that's amazing too. When they're like, I can identify what you're trying to tell me right now.
Things.
That actually leads to my next question: is what were some of your? I find it fascinating that you had these experiences as a young kid in getting these messages and knowing how to relay messages to other people. What were some of your first experiences tapping into other people's energy?
What I felt, I guess, one of the more significant ones I remember was a couple came and saw me. And this was when I was doing couples readings. I don't do them anymore for a very good reason. But
that makes you a therapist.
Yeah, right.
Right.
But I remember this couple came to me and they sat down across the table and I laid out the cards and the strong energy. And that's a great word for it, energy. It wasn't just looking at the cards. I was feeling these two are not going to be together within a week. And I'm like, at that point in my career, I'm thinking, okay, how do I, they're not here to hear that, right? But what am I supposed to do? I have to have integrity and be honest. And what was so wonderful is I guess they saw my expression. And I believe it was the husband who spoke up and said, don't worry, we're already separated. We're going separate ways. No. I was like, God, thank you so much for telling me. But that would just, and it does make it hard sometimes because with the cards, sometimes I'll get good news and sometimes it's not good news. But what I love about it is that even if it's not good news, you can still show people how to get around something or to get through it better.
Yes.
And that's the whole point of the cards. They should always be positive. So
right.
That was one. Remember having a dream about another client one time, and it was so interesting. I had just read for her, and I saw her in her apartment, and I was able to see literally the things in her apartment placed out. And I don't know why that dream came to me, but the next time she came for a reading, which was days later, she had said there had been some attacks in her apartment house. Oh, and I was like, I felt very strongly from the cards that it was really imperative that she stay away. And sure enough, she stayed away for like about a week, and another attack occurred in the apartment. Gosh. So it was confirmation for me that these do have benefit. If you are willing to listen and you're willing to trust your inner voice, there's a lot of knowledge. Right. I think all of us have a little bit of it.
I think we do. I think it's just a matter of you can. I know we don't listen, right? We filter it out,
right?
But you were able to help guide her. Really, it's about guidance. Like you're saying, if you get bad information, not bad information, if there's something challenging coming your way or a warning, at least
listen,
right?
Because there's no other reason to have the cards unless you can get around it or help out.
Right, exactly. And that's what we all want. Mm-hmm. We don't expect good news all the time.
Correct.
I mean, you can't.
Correct.
I mean, that would be great in a perfect world, but it's not reality. Why do you think people reach out to you for readings?
I think for the most part, they really are looking for guidance in a specific area of their life. But when they first meet me, they realize a lot of times that means they're looking for guidance in a lot of areas. So what they may be focusing on is job change.
Right.
But when I start talking to them, I realize, well, there's a lot of changes going on in your life. Romance, love, job, everything else. I think they're usually looking for a specific question to be answered, but they also really want a general picture of where they're headed. Mm-hmm. Some come for curiosity. They've never tried it before, which I love. I always have to be careful because if they get me on the subject, I'll talk the whole hour and then I'll be like, oh, wait a minute, I owe you a
reading. Time's up. Gotta go.
But yeah, I think those are two of the main reasons. But especially, I would say, out of love, job, and health, job seems to be the more frequent.
I would imagine. That's why I call you all the time.
Right.
Like you're like, stop calling me.
No, never.
We just talked last week. You know what's going to happen. Okay.
Don't call enough.
Don't call. I don't want to bother you every day. What do you think it is about these readings that give people confidence?
I feel like, kind of like what I said before, I think the cards are there to be a positive tool. We, just like anything else in life, whether you're an attorney or a doctor, if you have a talent, you can either use it for good or bad. Mm-hmm. With tarot, I think it is a neutral item. It's how, there is one exception.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about that later.
Oh.
But,
okay.
But the cards are neutral. So what I try to do is try to show that, I think most of the time things are never as bad as we think they are. Mm-hmm. So if we have a worry or a concern, the beauty of the cards, they do make you feel better when you come away from it because the cards are showing you, hey, what you are fearing is going to happen is not going to happen, or B, it's not as bad as you think,
right.
Or C, here's some ways around it.
Right.
And that gives them a sense of control over the situation, of being able to say, I can control the situation, or if I can't control it, I can control my response to it and make things a lot better. Yeah. And I think that, and I hope that's what my clientele gets. I think that's what they do get out of it. They come away from it feeling stronger.
Yes.
And instead of being controlled by their destiny, they control it.
Yes.
People always complain about, a lot of people complain about tarot and astrology as being related to fate and that your fate is determined. That's not true. It just simply means these are methods of guidance that can show you that you control your fate more than you think you do, and take control of it. And this is how you can.
Right. So. I love that answer. I do, because it helps them find a path and
Correct.
Do it confidently and feel, sure of themselves.
Right. The path is there.
Yeah.
You still have the choice whether to take it or not.
Yeah.
That's why it's not fate.
Right. Exactly. It's up to you.
Right.
You can lay it out how things need to go, and then they can make
their choice.
Make their choices. Mm-hmm. You kind of answered my next question. It was like how they can, how your message can shape these individuals' next steps in life.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it is like a pathway. I felt like, to me, You could tell somebody, if you take your car from my house after this reading and you turn left on this street, you'll stop into 7-Eleven and get a lottery ticket and win. Or if you turn right, you're going to have a fender bender. Well, they know the path. Now it's their choice, whether they turn left or right.
Okay.
And I have to say, especially in romance, sometimes they don't always listen to me. And they'll be back.
They have blinders on.
Right.
You're like, I told you so.
I told you
should have taken that left. Get the lottery ticket.
Right.
You kind of answered this one too, but what if you have to share something that's unsettling or uncomfortable with a client? How do you handle delivering that kind of message?
Sure. Great example. In the deck, there is a card called the Ten of Swords, which usually indicates difficulty and challenge and suffering and pain. Frequently, not always, but frequently my job is made easier because that card is usually modified by, all right, this challenge is coming to you, but this is how you're going to make it easier, or it will not be as bad as you think, and you will get out the other side, and you will see what follows. And oftentimes the card following it might be the sun, radiant, healing and moving forward. So again, it's about sharing with them how to get through this. And a lot of times the cards can be very specific on guidance, like do this certain thing, reach out for help from this person. That can help them get through these trying times. Now, sometimes, in certain constellations of cards, you can get the Ten of Swords, perhaps in the 10th position, which kind of indicates things aren't going to go really well. But a lot of times we can build on that, create a new reading to find out where things go up from that. And again, like I said, I have to be honest with what I see, but 99 times out of 100, things are not as bad as they think, and they're going to make it through.
That gives their hearts some type of relief.
Correct.
To know that you can
correct
what, not to repeat you, but correct what's going to happen.
Right. Or at least show how to get through it as easy as possible.
Right. Exactly. Okay, tell me this. Why do you want your clients to feel confident?
I want to really believe that what I'm doing this for is for a benefit, not just I love that they might be curious, and that's a great thing. But also, I want them to go away feeling good. Confidence is important. I mean, you can't do a thing without it, in my opinion. I've been challenged with that at times in my life, and when you don't have that confidence, then all of a sudden the world is taking control of you.
Yeah.
Instead, you want to flip that script and say, no, I'm controlling.
Right.
I'm the one who's going to run my life, not the world outside. And I think the cards can really help with that. I mean, even if you read the cards for yourself, there's a meditative process that you can use these cards and strengthen that. Confidence is important to succeed in anything, from moving to your job performance to health.
All of it.
All of it. And if you don't have that, I think cards can find it for you, help you find it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Okay, what are some of the most common questions you get from clients? You might have just answered them already about work, love, moves, things like that. And on the flip side, what are some of the craziest questions you get? Because I like to know about all the crazy.
Oh, gosh. So the common ones, like I said, job. A lot of times I will get an either or, which is great for me because the either or readings are really easy to do. A lot of people will have a choice between two. A lot of times they'll be looking at job offers. That's a real common reason for people to come to me. And so we'll lay out the cards to see which offers are good, or if neither of them are the best, then they need to wait.
Right.
And there's a better one coming down the path. That's one of the most common ones. Love, it's pretty common. It's like, what's frequent about, what I get frequently is, and I kind of like this now. I would say now more than ever, I'm getting people who are wanting to work things out, stay together. So they're asking me first, how can we work through things, or is it going to get better? Rather than, I'm done, tell me what you see down the road, which was a little more common in the 70s and 80s.
Interesting.
Nowadays, you get a few more we call them queries, questions of people saying, I want to just know how can we make this work?
Right.
If at all possible.
That's nice to know, though.
That is kind of interesting.
I've
seen trends change over the decades of what people ask, which is interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah. Instead of just like, how can I shut the door on this one and get out of it?
Exactly.
Okay. I like to know that people want to stay together. Let's move to you.
Okay.
If you, as Grady, find yourself in a less than confident phase in your life, how do you move through it? What do you rely on?
It's interesting. I find that of course, I rely on a very strong friendship network. That's really important to me. I have a
Right.
good, strong circle of friends that really help me get through a lot. I'm a member of a fraternal organization that helps me out. I'm a Freemason, and that really guides me in a lot of what I do. I would also say that in terms of cards, it's so funny. A lot of card practitioners will say, well, it's just like being a doctor. You should never treat yourself. Should I read for myself?
Really?
But I disagree with that.
I do too.
I absolutely think reading for yourself is great. It's a great meditative practice, and I always come away from it feeling better. I have numerous decks. I collect them like a fiend. And some of the best decks I've gotten are from New Orleans, actually. And I love just being able to get just the experience of getting them out, looking at the artwork kind of centers me and brings me peace. So meditating.
Like it did when you were a kid.
Correct.
The symbols.
Correct.
Right.
And there are certain meditations, such as the magician meditation, which is a really interesting practice. You hold the magician card in front of you in a darkened room or a dim room, and you just stare at it, trying to empty your mind and let that card start to talk to you. Let the magician in the card start to talk to your inner self. And that is a really beautiful way to kind of connect with your inner wizard or your inner high self and to get some more knowledge. And also, again, center yourself when you're feeling afraid or unsettled.
I love that.
Yeah,
I need this magician card.
It's a beautiful card, and the magician card meditation's easy, and anybody can do it. And just try it for 5 minutes. It's a really cool way to just center yourself, and you'll be surprised what the magician says sometimes.
That's fascinating because it's so hard to still your mind anyway.
It is.
And if I'm meditating, it's more like I'm thinking about what I'm going to cook for dinner tonight and what am I going to wear tomorrow, and I got to be at a meeting at 7:30.
Right.
But by staring at the card, you're like forcing yourself to like just zone in on one thing.
And it takes practice like any meditative practice. What I love is that it's part of our Western cultural traditions. So in the 1960s, especially, so many people were guided to Eastern mystical practices because they didn't see it existing in the West. And it was there with tarot and Western astrology. And now people are finding it again. Stores locally like Soultopia are kind of increasing the popularity of it. And tarot is really booming right now. It's a lot of people are curious about it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to deviate there. Why do you think that people are gaining interest in tarot right now? Do you have a theory on that?
I do. I think to a certain extent there was in the West, in America specifically, in the 1960s and 70s when I first started, there was still a strong kind of religious response against it, especially among fundamentalist Protestantism in the South. But as religious... how shall I say it? As organized religion is kind of slowly losing its grip on the population in general, more and more people feel free to explore their individual spirituality, and they are drawn to practices that don't require denominational affiliation, such as tarot.
Right.
Anybody can do it or try it. Tarot, scrying. Scrying is when you use a board to get an answer.
Really?
The most common is the Ouija board, but I hate that term. It's Milton Bradley's made up name, but they call it scrying boards. Crystals. All of that is becoming more popular because I think people are embracing it with less fear of problems with family or friends.
Right.
Accepting it.
Right. That's really interesting, but it's true.
I think it is very much so.
They don't have the fear of the dogma of religion.
Exactly.
They feel free to explore other spiritual ways of connecting.
Right. It's still there, but it's lessened and lessened. And that's why I think
it gives them more freedom.
Correct.
For sure.
Correct.
I'm so glad you answered that.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me. Okay. So what advice do you have for people about having confidence? What would be your tips and tools that you would share with them? Besides coming to see you.
Yes. Duh.
There's that.
That's your solution right there.
Right.
First of all, this is so crazy, but I'm going to start with it because it's so simple, but it's so beautiful.
Okay.
There's a mantra I love. And, it's been so long, I'm going to claim it. I probably read it somewhere. It's simply, I choose not to live in fear. You say that to yourself and repeat when you're in a period of fear or lack of confidence, and it works miracles. I feel like, to me, confidence it really comes from a place of lack of fear. And when you do that,
that's true.
Then you feel like you can conquer everything. And I think that it's so easy for us to get wrapped up in all the junk of daily life. And even what I just told you about that meditation.
Yeah.
Well, who is going to sit back and take that time? I mean, I'm guilty of not doing it when I know this would benefit me right now.
Right.
So we've got to find that. I'll say this much. You got to at least make a focused effort to give yourself the benefit of meditation and peace. And really, the reason I like to choose not to live in fear. You can do it anywhere. You can do it on the road. You can do it while you're being distracted by a million things.
Yeah.
And it really starts to be.
You start telling yourself that and you believe it.
You start to believe.
I choose to not live in fear.
I'm telling you, try it. It's like a magic mantra. Watch how things start getting better for you quickly when you start saying that mantra to yourself or out loud, however you feel.
I believe it.
It's amazing. Some people call it magic. I'm like, I do too, because I love the word magic. I'm into fantasy and magic, but it really is. It's just knowing ourselves better.
And everybody can use it. I choose to not live in fear because we're driven by fear every day.
We are.
Like, I had a fear of being late today. Mm-hmm. I had a fear of not returning a phone call to someone fast enough today. Like, that's what drives us.
Yeah.
So if you start to tell yourself that, you could kind of rewire how you think.
That's, I think, what's going on. Again, I come at it from the esoteric side, so I'm not a scientist, but I do believe it really works. It's like a magic mantra.
Okay, so. I need this magician's meditation card. I need to say, I choose to not live in fear.
Choose not to live in fear.
And then also see you.
Those are 3 great things.
That's it.
And you're good.
That's the whole formula.
And you're good.
That's it, everybody. That's the answer to everything. Okay, so importantly, how can our listeners get in touch with you if they want to be your client, which you should for our listeners, or speak at an event?
Sure. You can reach me for either one of those things at tarotbygrady.com. There's a place to click on to either email or send me a text message. Mm-hmm. So that's a great way to do it, again, for either one of those things. Or you can reach out directly to 214-680-2938. And I'd be happy to meet new people.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, I highly recommend you.
Oh, thank you so much.
I've been with you for a long time, and you have not steered me wrong yet.
Yay.
Or my sales team either.
That's good to know.
I know.
They let me know.
We all rely on you now. I just told our big secret. It's not a secret anymore from my sales team. But I'm so glad that you were here today. You did a great job. And thank you for sharing all this very insightful information with us.
Really enjoyed it, Holly. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Choosing to work with someone like Grady is obviously totally up to you. But if you feel comfortable seeking guidance this way, by all means do it. Here are my 2 tips for you. If you get a reading, have an open mind so you can appreciate the overall experience and take something special from it. Secondly, enjoy the confidence and guidance that these readings will bring you. It will make an impact on your attitude and perception of what is coming your way. Those are my parting words today. This is Holly Kaplan. Cheers until the next episode of Talking Confidence. Thank you, Talking Confidence listeners, for joining me for this episode today. I hope it gave you something to think about. If you like this conversation, please leave us a review and share your thoughts. Thanks.